Hey friends, welcome to the home edition of McBean Immigration TV. I hope that you're doing well, friends, and doing everything you possibly can to stay healthy. We're gonna pull through this. Just practice social distancing and wash your hands. Do everything that they're telling us to do so that we can stick around and we can beat this thing. We're gonna get through this. So in this video, I'm going to speak about my top 10 things that you should think about when you're selecting a joint sponsor. So if you're interested in that topic, stick around all the way until the end. I have a lot of good, juicy things that I'm going to share in this one. Friends, I'd like to thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for always sharing my content with other people. So many people need good information, and yeah, that's what this is all about. My mission, as you guys know, is to bring families together, bring people together permanently here in America, right? So that they could share their life together in this great country. So now let's get straight to it. The affidavit of support is required when you're seeking an immigration benefit, such as obviously the green card, right? If you're going through the adjustment of status process or the immigrant visa process, an affidavit of support is a required form that must be submitted. The petitioner has to submit one, but when the petitioner's income does not meet the minimum requirement that our government has for the petitioner, then a joint sponsor is required. Now, people get this wrong all the time, right? They think, I'll just ask my aunt or my uncle because this person has a good job or this person has a decent income, but they don't go a step further and ask themselves some other important questions. And it's not until the application is then denied that they then realize, oh shoot, I chose the wrong person, and here's why. Let's get right into it. The first question you really should ask yourself, is the person a US citizen or a green card holder? Because only a US citizen or a green card holder can be an affidavit of support sponsor. Second question, what is their income? The income, friends, is connected to the family size. So, and we're going to get into that question shortly about the family size, but the income is really important because you want to make sure that that person is making enough money to sponsor you. And if this person has a family, they have dependents and other folks who they're responsible for, that will come into play as well. So the income level is very important. So you want to make sure the affidavit of support sponsor has the right minimum income to sponsor you. Next question, what is their family relationship to you? What is their relationship to you? Is it a relative? Is it a friend? Is it a friend of a friend? Is it your relative's friend? I mean, who is this individual? The family relationship matters because they're going to enter into a contract. The affidavit of support is a contract, guys. They're entering into a contract with the U.S. government and they're bound for 10 years or until you become a U.S. citizen. So it's a very serious agreement. And so you want to make sure that the relationship is a strong one to you. And the U.S. government also will be asking the same question. Is this a cousin, a aunt, uncle? Who is this individual? And so you want to select someone who is close to you. The next question, how well do you really know the person? Okay, so if it's a relative, and let's say that this is a super distant relative, right? And you may not even have spoken to this person in ages. They don't know you very well. That's not really a great thing either, because when you're trying to get their documents, such as their tax returns or copies of their passport and other required documents from them, if you don't know them very well, it could be a hassle. So how well do you know this individual? Next question, are they sponsoring anyone else? Do they have anyone else who they are petitioning for? That's important because if, let's say, for example, your uncle is going to be the joint sponsor and he's married, so the uncle, his wife, and let's say they have 2 children, that's a family size of 4, and let's say they will be a sponsor for you and maybe your child, you know, so that's already 6 people, 6 people. And so the question is the income sufficient to take care of a family size of 6? So that's one thing. And then if they are sponsoring someone else, right, not you and your child, but someone else, that's another seventh person that's added to the list, or 8. So it quickly adds up if they're sponsoring other people. And the government is going to ask, is their income sufficient for that many people? Next question that you need to ask yourself is, well, where do they live? Are they living near to you, or are they living far? Are you in New York and they're in California or Nevada or Texas? Because that does matter as well, because that speaks to how close the relationship is and the strength of the relationship. So if they're out of state, that's a bit weaker, versus if they're in state with you in the same city, that demonstrates a stronger relationship. The next question you need to ask yourself, and obviously I've lost count here, but who cares, right? The next question that you need to ask yourself is, do they have any other obligations with the US government? Meaning that, did they sponsor someone maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, and that individual has gotten the green card, and that individual is still just a green card holder and not yet a citizen? That does happen, because people don't always or immediately apply for citizenship when they're eligible. You could have a green card holder who has a green card for 10, 15, or even 20 years. But if your joint sponsor has someone who he or she sponsored 5 years ago, that person is not a citizen yet, and then he is sponsoring you, the government is going to still consider that other obligation, because that person is not yet a US citizen. So the sponsor is still on the hook for him or her. Next question, and this is an obvious one, right? Like, how big is the family size of that sponsor, your joint sponsor? Is it a big family? Is it a mother with 4 children and a husband? I mean, who is it, right? How big is that family? Because it will come into play. And then finally, friends, well, not finally, I think I have 2 more. Did they file their taxes within the past 3 years? Because the sponsor has to show the government their total income for the past 3 years, and they have to submit the most recent tax year tax transcript, or 1040, with the W-2s and all of that. So that's really important to know, because you could ask someone to be your sponsor, and you start the process and you're working with a lawyer or on your own, and then you realize, oh shoot, I can't move any further with this person because he only filed taxes in the past 2 years. He doesn't have 3 years worth of data that you need. And now, friends, the last question, the 10th thing that you need to ask yourself is, do they still have income coming in? And this is more relevant to maybe an older person who is graciously going to serve as your joint sponsor, because that person may have recently retired, or it could be anyone, and they lost their job recently and they don't really have any income coming in. But if it's an older person and they have like a pension coming in, Social Security as well, and some other income coming in, that's a great thing. They could still act as your joint sponsor, but they need to have some income coming in. They can't just come to a hard stop and that's it. Income coming in is important, because it shows the government that that person has the resources to really sponsor you and take care of you if the need arises. So friends, those are the top 10 things that I always look for when my clients come to me and say, I've chosen my aunt to be my joint sponsor, or I've chosen my cousin or friend. You know, I ask myself these questions, and I ask the client these questions as well. So I hope you found this video helpful. Share it with other people. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.